I remember getting the bikes out of the back of the car, and I looked at the helmets in the car, and I was just like, oh, should I put my helmet on or not?
I was called at work. Janine called me, and her words were, you need to get to the hospital and you need to get there now.
We rushed up the hospital and he was unconscious.
From then on, I remember saying to the doctors, will I ever walk again? And I just never got an answer. There was a set of about 5 jumps, and the jumps are pretty much called like a flying set. You have to pump and you have to do all of them. You can't really back out of them. So I did the first one fine, the second one I made it, but I went too far, and on the third one I didn't go far enough. I didn't have enough speed, so the front wheel hit the edge of the landing ramp and it flipped me over the handlebars in the air. So I landed on the back of my neck, which caused me to fracture C6 and C7 in my neck. This is the helmet I had on the day. This is my I had my accident on it, and without this helmet, honestly, I obviously would have died. You know, so yeah. I was in ICU. I had life support in. I had a tube going through my nose to feed me. I had needles in me and cannulas, and I had every sort of sign that you could monitor. It was being monitored, and that was the time the doctor sort of came in. My mum was in the room at the time. I remember it clearly. I was laying there awake, and he was talking to my mum in the room, saying, "Your son's never going to walk again. He'll never feel from the neck down again, and most likely he will not be able to get into a wheelchair."
He was terrified, absolutely terrified. Looked at us straight in the eye, and he was really, really upset. And he just said, "Am I going to walk again?" I said, yeah, you're going to walk.
I just started getting really emotional. I remember all my family around me, my friends.
On the day after his accident, I went up the hospital and Malcolm and Janine were just leaving. He had just been taken off the ventilator, and he'd been told that if he had to go back on the ventilator, it might be forever.
And I honestly couldn't breathe. Every breath was just gasping for air every time, and I was struggling so hard.
It was the most scary thing I think I've ever heard or seen.
And my auntie was saying to me, should we get the nurse or the doctor to come back in and let's put the life support back in? And I said, no, I don't want that life support back. I don't want that. Did not know how to take it, and like I went into depression and just didn't even want to leave the room really. So, and it even got worse when I got home. I went into thinking about committing suicide, and attempted it a couple of times, and you know.
Oh, for me, I was devastated. Absolutely, it had a huge impact on me. I mean, we'd come home, we'd be strong for Nathan at hospital, and we'd tell him we're going to get through this, and you know, then that we're not looking for this to be, you know, permanent solution, that we'll do all we can to get your goals. But in our own space at home, I was devastated, absolutely.
It didn't seem real. It was very surreal, actually. And I just kept on thinking, well, Nathan he'll be fine. He'll eventually just get there, and he'll be walking and running around just like everybody else, and it'll only be weeks, and maybe a couple of months. When he got out of hospital, finally, there was a lot of coming to terms with things.
So there's such a big routine for everything now, from, you know, getting dressed to going to the toilet to having a shower to doing all these little things that I used to take for granted every day. You know, and I remember going down to the skate park, watching all my friends, and they're learning all these new tricks, and I was just like, oh man, I wish I could do that. You know, I think I kept telling myself, oh, it'll be me soon, you know, I'll be able to do that soon. I think all that sort of stuff, all the sort of stuff that I miss, is the thing that at the start made me go, I'm going to walk again and I'm going to do this. I come here to do physical therapy with the trainers here, so they'll get me out of my wheelchair, they'll chuck me on. Normally we'll start off, we'll do some stretches, they'll loosen me up, and we'll go from there. Normally from there we'll go into some core work, hands and knees sort of stuff, and into standing, some walking, all sort of different types of exercises doing the same sort of thing.
We knew he was an incomplete injury from the diagnosis being that he was a C6-7 quadriplegic. He already had full grip strength, his hands were good, he had triceps, but every time he would sit up, his back looked like this. And he would sit up and we would tell him to try to bring his shoulders back and look at you in the eye, and his blood pressure would immediately drop and he'd have to go back into a slouch position and stop and drink water and lie back. And we did that over and over and over and over and over. And over time he started to be able to stand, sit and move for longer than 2 seconds. And then within 3 years he's changed dramatically.
Ever since we started working together, we've had this awesome relationship, just being able to work together, knowing each other, and she knows my body just as well as I do, and she's always there for me no matter what, through just your normal training, and then telling her stuff that I wouldn't tell any other trainer, and she's excited through the roof. So.
I mean, you were locking out every time, but your pull-through was so much better today. He was the only person at Project Walk who would drive one of those little granny scooters in, and he would tow his wheelchair behind, and so we knew he was crazy. This right here is amazing. Just standing here, having nobody else near him, having him on a trampoline, a completely unstable surface.
Completely independent.
Yeah, completely independently. I work with Nate where we have one person helping him, and that's sometimes to make sure that he gets a full step. That's not to unlock or to lock his legs. I know that Nathan wants to go surfing, he's gonna go surfing. If he wants to go swimming, he's gonna swim. If he wants to wakeboard, he'll wakeboard. And if he wants to walk down the aisle at his wedding, he'll do that. And I don't think he's ever looked at the wheelchair and said, I can't?
First met him at church, but we didn't really speak until I house sat for him a couple of years back when he went away with his parents. So whilst he was in America, we were chatting a lot, and in March he sent me a plane ticket and asked me to be his girlfriend. So pretty much was a yes straight away.
We're delighted, absolutely delighted. Met this wonderful girl that's come into his life that's it's like salt and pepper, and just complements each other.
I think what I've done is just be there when he needed somebody. Anything that he wanted to do, I think I've just gotten behind him to be sort of like a personal cheerleader for him.
She's actually been really amazing, honestly. Supports me in every sort of way. In my down times and in my happy times, and I've had a couple of times I've been in hospital for serious illness lately, and she's been there every day pretty much, and never has a problem with it. She put her body through a lot just recently, and she came down with a sickness just because of looking after me, so she's definitely got a lot of support there for me. The things that are still sort of just kept me going is this support and people around me. Like, I don't think my family and fiance and friends would ever let me give up. They'd say you're stupid. And to me, honestly, I think it's hard to give up. If you give up, you're now in this in this mind frame of, okay, cool, well, I'm just gonna sit here and do nothing now. Where, at least I can say I tried. At least, I can say to the doctors now, like, hey, I can walk, I can stand, I can feel. He said I couldn't do that, and now I can. So I think sometimes just knowing that I can go back to the doctors and say that, what's better than that? So